Fellow Falcoholics, well, what is up, guys? Welcome to the Falcoholic Live's Week 14 post-game show. I am your host, Kevin Knight, and I will be joined by a whole host of guests. A few other guys coming in as soon as they are able to extricate themselves and find a computer screen. But in the meantime, I'm here to talk you through that travesty of a football game, right? No, I mean, that was pretty much exactly what you like. If you expected something, to happen between these two teams, like I had joked, I think on Wednesday's show, that it would be like a black hole appearing. I mean, that was pretty close to that, honestly. Like I think we're pretty close to the black hole appearing there. I mean, it was just like back and forth between these guys just constantly just trading stuff. Hold on, let me make sure people can actually see this. Sorry. There we go. Just a crazy game. And thank you, Eli Amberson, as well, for the $1. Eli says, 3 ints. Congrats, Adnan. You got what you wanted. All right, we're going to make sure that, because Adnan's coming, so when Adnan gets here, I'm going to read it again to make sure that he knows, that you were saying that, because that's important for him to hear. So, but yeah, guys, welcome in. We're going to break down this game in a little more detail. We're going to talk about that draft. Oh, speaking of Adnan's here. Okay.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah, we already had a tip. Someone had a tip for you. So I need to reread it now because I think it's important that you hear it. So said 3 interceptions. So congrats, Adnan. You got what you wanted.
How much was the tip?
Because you're the Matt Ryan hater, right?
I am the Matt Ryan hater. Oh, I'm going to go off on that noodle arm today. It's going to be really bad when I objectively say that Matt Ryan probably cost us this game, and then everyone's going to take the narrative and run with it.
Right, they're just gonna blow it out of proportion. These guys. No, I mean, honestly, like it's not. If you were gonna run with that narrative, I mean, like today would be your time to shine. Basically, I mean, it's.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, today would be your time to shine. I mean, it's not like it was just at his feet, but.
Bro, that was pretty bad. Like that was pretty bad for your quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if that was Justin Herbert making those mistakes, then it's like, okay, you give him a pass. It's one game.
Right.
But man, Matt Ryan, like, come on, bro.
Come on. You can't do that. Like, and you can't do it on you can't throw 2 picks back to back on the last drive. Like, there's so many things.
That first pick was one of the worst ones I've seen him throw in a while.
Yeah.
Like he just stared his receiver down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was real bad.
But he did it for the tank.
Yeah, he did.
I can't say part of me wasn't happy when Badgley kicked that field goal in. Like this team is getting a top 5 pick.
Yeah, this guy, hey, Ryan respects the tank, and you love to see it. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
He wants an understudy next year.
He does. He's campaigning for it. Before we get too much more into the show, guys, I do want to recognize our patrons, because I don't think I've actually shouted out all of our patrons officially yet. So first off, Guy Fieri, otherwise known as Solaire on YouTube. He's at the fan level, so thank you so much, Solaire, for your support. George Costanza, aka Show Benefactor, at the Falcoholic level, like the true boss that he is. Thank you, George, so much. We appreciate your support, man. We also have Eddie Greer III. He is at the supporter level. Thank you, Eddie Greer. We appreciate your support as well. You guys will know Tyler Russell, longtime show viewer. Tyler at the supporter level as well. Thank you much, brother. We appreciate you. And then finally, we have Fulio Jones, supporter level. Fulio, thank you. If that is your real name, thank you very much for your support as well. So thank you guys. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the Patreon and the patron tiers and all that, that is in the show description. And this is a good, time for me to remind folks, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And speaking of, Tegan Conway, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Falcoholic Club, buddy. So thank you much. But yeah, I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to make you start because I don't really know where I want to start with this.
Well, the fourth quarter was literally everything we thought it would be between these two teams. Like, we went into this making jokes about, oh yeah, like what's gonna happen when an unstoppable force of choking in the Falcons meets the immovable object of also choking in the Los Angeles Chargers, and we got our answer. We got one of the most sloppy fourth quarters I've seen like in so long. It's like neither of these teams wanted to win this game, but someone had to. Like I was fully expecting Kalen Balaj to, or is it Ballage? I never know. I was fully expecting him to fumble on that final run, where they had it in field goal range and they were just trying to center it, and they gave him one more snap. I was fully expecting that to be a fumble, and then after that, I was expecting Badgley to miss it.
Right,
but
right. Just to increase the absurdity of the game.
Yeah, but like I said, part of me is actually happy that he made it, because this team isn't falconing the way it was the last 2 years, where they go on this like robust winning streak to end the season and like destroy their like draft pick. And it worked out last year because we ended up getting AJ Terrell. So in the end, it really is more about personnel than like anything else, and like who makes the picks. But man, it's a lot better, especially for a new general manager coming in, if you have the fifth pick in the draft as opposed to having like the 12th pick in the draft, because you can. I don't know if they're gonna go and look to get a quarterback or whoever,
right?
But having that kind of draft equity is huge, because my top preference right now would be to trade back if we did have that pick. Trade back and get a treasure chest of picks, because you're going to be in a prime position for one of these quarterback needy teams. Like, I keep mentioning the Bears, even though Maserati Mitch Trubisky had a great game today. Shout out to Maserati Mitch. Maybe the Vikings and Kirk. I don't know how much they like Kirk Cousins moving forward. There's so many like possibilities. But we'll get into draft takes later on, and as we get closer to the actual draft. But as for this game today, it really was a poor game from Matt Ryan. And I know I'm just adding to this narrative of, oh, I'm the Matt Ryan hater at the Falcoholic, but it really was like, bro, those 3 interceptions were just inexcusable. Like especially that second one. Like that's the kind of pick you expect like a rookie quarterback to make, where he was just staring his wide receiver down. All 3 interceptions happened, I think, in Charger territory. So, I mean, all 3 more or less took points off the board for the Falcons, because Younghoe Koo is absolutely automatic. Best kicker in the NFL. I can confidently say that after seeing Justin Tucker miss last week, because, I couldn't take that title away from Tucker until, he missed. But Calvin Ridley had a really good game. Russell Gage stepped up.
Yeah, Russell Gage, superhuman game. Okay, Russell Gage, better than Sanu, clearly. Okay,
he's the best quarterback on the roster.
We knew this would happen. It's been coming, that like the Matt Ryan or the Adnan Ikic heel turn towards Matt Ryan. It's been foretold by the chat, and now it has officially come full circle. So. Oh man, but yeah, better than Taysom Hill too. Yeah.
Yeah, but look at the stat lines though. Yeah. So you had Ridley and you had Russell Gage. So Ridley had 124 yards and a touchdown, and Russell Gage 82 yards, 5 receptions, and an absolutely beautiful touchdown throw. And then after that, your third leading wide receiver was Todd Gurley with 12 yards, on 2 catches. And then you had Brian Hill and Laquan Treadwell and Powell.
Why is Eno Smith not getting targeted? Like, I don't understand what this man has to do to get targeted.
It's just the Dirk Koetter offense of, we're not going to target the running backs.
Which is bizarre, because he used to do that all the time. Like, you remember Quiz? Quiz would have like 50 catches in a season. Like, 2019, Devontae Freeman had like 66 catches. Like, it's just so weird. Like, I mean, I just don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was we needed that third wide receiver, or third pass catching target to step up, and Hayden Hurst, like we discussed it a little bit on Wednesday's show, and I said that the jury is still out on if we were on if it was worth trading a second rounder for Hurst, and I'm still firmly on the train of on the side of no, it wasn't. I would have rather had that second round pick as of now. We don't know what Hurst is going to do next year with a better offensive coordinator because Dirk Koetter, isn't it, obviously.
Dirk Koetter ain't it, yeah.
But like Hayden Hurst has, like his numbers haven't popped out this year. Sure, he's been better than he has been with the Ravens, but he's been a third string tight end with the Ravens, and like he was playing behind Andrews last year.
Yeah, I mean Andrews is like a top 3, top 5 tight end.
In a very run heavy offense last year. Like that Ravens offense was Lamar Jackson is pretty much like another running back in the backfield, or he was last year. So I mean, like we need more than one catch for 7 yards from Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been as good as we hoped, and like I don't want to be like too harsh because like Dirk Koetter 1 and 2, like it generally does take some time for tight ends to really get acclimated in an offense, and like we're gonna have him for like at least another year, maybe 2 if we pick up the option. So like I think we're gonna find out if it's worth it, but so far I think it's definitely in question.
I'm with you, but one of the big benefits with Hurst is that he came in NFL ready because he's been in the league for 2 years. So you were expecting him to make an impact immediately. Like it's not like if you drafted a rookie tight end and he struggles through his like first year. Like with Hurst, it should have been all right. The struggles are like more or less behind him, and now he should be making an immediate impact. But I mean, the defense was solid. Yeah. The defense was pretty good. Like Eckler did have 5.3 yards per carry, but
it's not great.
Came in. Yeah, it's not great, but he came into this game very fresh. He missed most of the season because of injury, so it's huge for a running back to be fresh down the stretch. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Unless you're Derrick Henry and you're absolutely superhuman, and as the season goes along and you get hit more, you become stronger, like a Thanos level like being. That
right, yeah.
Like just like January comes and Derrick Henry like gets better.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen was held to 52 yards. He did catch a touchdown, but 52 yards on 9 catches. AJ Terrell did a very good job covering him. Terrell forced a fumble. Terrell is going to be a shutdown corner in the NFL in a year or two. Like maybe as soon as next year, he'll be one of the premier corners. Like my hopes for Terrell are that high. Bleedy Ray Wilson, your boy, got an interception.
Hashtag free Bleedy. Yep. The hashtag is strong.
Terrell also had a team high 13 tackles. So, the defense, they did its job against Herbert, who's just been slinging it all season long. Herbert didn't look great. And also, we have to talk about what the hell that was with it's going to get lost in the archives because, they won. But what the hell was that game management at the end of the half? Oh my God,
dude. That was unforgivable, man.
You run the ball on third down without a timeout, and then the offense and the special teams doesn't know who's going to I think they were expecting that to be a first down run and then to spike it.
Right.
But why?
Yeah, why? Exactly, why?
Just kick it.
Yeah, just kick the damn ball or throw a pass, and if you don't get it, okay, then we'll just, It was just so weird, man. It's like they were running a play to get an extra 2 yards. They were well within field goal range. It was not necessary to get an extra yard. It was just a bizarre series of events from top to bottom. But Evan has joined us. Evan is here. He was politely waiting, for our rant to end. And Evan, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing well. I just wanted to jump on before I do the post-game pod with DW and see how you guys were feeling, but yeah, I could tell by Adnan, not too great. So.
Not too great, Yeah. Well, if you got limited time, why don't you get your takes off, pretty quickly here? So
hey,
make
the tank is strong.
Yeah, the tank is strong.
Yeah,
hashtag tank season.
Somehow the team officially was eliminated tonight from playoff contention, even though most of us probably already figured that was the case. Yeah, overall, there was little to no run game. Ito Smith was the best back again. Gurley, 6 carries for 19 yards is pretty weak, especially since they seemed like they were talking him up going into the week about how he's going to get more carries and stuff, but just a non-factor. And then just to piggyback off of what Adnan was talking about, Hayden Hurst, I mean, it's like I think 3 of the last 4 games he's had 1 catch or 0 catches. Like, that's not going to cut it for a second-round pick. Right. We gave up, considering, it'd be different if the draft was a bust, but AJ Terrell, PFF has him graded as the top rookie corner, and he's clearly passing the eye test. And then Michael Walker's PFF's number 1 graded linebacker. So I'm not sure who they would have took with that second-round pick, but there's a chance it could have been more of an impact player. But yeah, it's not fair with Dirk Koetter to kind of base the rest of his Falcons career on this season. So, yeah. But it was a necessary loss to protect the tank, so it is what it is.
Yes, it was understandable for those reasons.
I mean, we all wanted to win. When you get involved, you probably go into it like, well, if they lose, they lose. But like when you're watching your favorite team,
right,
you want them to win, even if logic is probably best that they don't. But that was just kind of a hard way to go out, seeing like both teams throwing interceptions, and then you want to see the Younghoe Koo revenge kick, and that's robbed of us. And a Falcons loss. We all were interested how this game was going to end. Before weeks out. And we finally got to see it, and I think it lived up to the hype of being a disappointment at the end. So
yeah, it lived up to its billing of being a catastrophe. So
not normal.
Definitely not normal. Definitely not normal. So yeah, I do want to read some donations real quick. Viral Graph asked, do you know what pick we are at now? We're at 7th projected. There's still a few more games, so things could change a little bit, but we're at 7th now.
We're at 7th, but we really set ourselves up pretty well moving forward, because like even though we're at 7th, we're in that like big line. Mm-hmm. We're one of 5 teams that are 4-9 right now, because not only did the Chargers win, but the Cowboys, who are ahead of us, they beat the hapless Cincinnati Bengals. Carolina also lost today, but they lost to Denver, who was also 4-8 coming into this game. Mm-hmm. So one of those 4-8 teams was going to lose. Carolina and Atlanta, the Falcons are 7th, but they're really tied for 6th. Because
plus, look at the schedule.
Yeah. Like the schedule is like very like difficult, but with Carolina, it goes on strength of schedule, tiebreakers. So whoever has the tougher strength of schedule, and I know way too much about draft standings from the Falcons in the past 3 years to be knowing all of this. But when you look at draft order, it goes by whoever has a harder strength of schedule gets the worst pick.
Yep.
Atlanta and Carolina are both at 538. They have the exact same strength of schedule, which kind of makes sense. They're in the same division, but it still very rarely happens.
It is rare. Yeah,
it's super rare. Houston is also we're doing some tank talk right now.
Hashtag tank talk.
This is what I'm here for. This is what I write an article about every single week. Houston is also in that 4-9 dogfight, but Houston doesn't have any tank to play for it because their pick goes to Miami. So you're looking at the Chargers, you're looking at Dallas. The Falcons, I presume, will lose out. Because
I think they'll probably win one of the Tampa Bay games, just because. But
I mean,
it's very possible that they will lose out, but I do think they're going to win one of those Tampa Bay games.
It is very possible. I will give you that.
But even then, they would be almost guaranteed a top 10 pick.
But if the Hawks do, let me humor you for a second. If the Falcons do lose out, sorry, I think I said Hawks. I'm very ready for basketball season, as you can tell. The Panthers have a game left. They're going to lose 2 of their 3 games. They have the Saints. They have the Packers, who are 1-2 in the NFC. Their other game that they could win is against the Washington football team. I think Alex Smith got hurt in that game, but I don't know if he went back or not.
Right.
Washington beat the Steelers last week, which is great for for tank purposes.
Yeah.
And, Washington's actually in the wild card round right now. They've won 4 in a row.
Yeah. That defense is real, man. It's legit.
That defense is real, and Alex Smith is real. Like, he is doing if he's not the comeback player of the year, then
he's
that
obviously.
Like, that award should be retired completely. The Chargers are a much better team than 4-9. Because the Chargers are one of the top teams in time of possession. They have Herbert. They've just been so unlucky, and they've, their special teams unit is pretty trash. The Chargers play the Denver Broncos, so that's their game, which I think they're going to win that game, and you can possibly move ahead of the Chargers. And who knows, maybe even another game, because the Chargers are. They're one of the best 4-9 teams you'll ever see.
Yeah, they're definitely not bad. I mean, if you looked at their stats, this was not a team that was, bottom of the league in a lot of stats. They just were really unlucky, and they don't manage time well and all these various things. So when that happens, you end up 4-9 when you shouldn't be. So it feels very familiar.
And the other one is the Cowboys. The Cowboys game, the Cowboys, have games left against 3 teams that are all under 500. As you can tell, because that NFC East is terrible. So they get the 49ers, who just lost to the football team, and who are starting, a very backup quarterback right now.
Yes.
They get the Eagles, who, just beat the Saints, and who knocked the Saints out of the top spot in the NFC, surprisingly, with Justin Hurts. Mm-hmm. So shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to Philly.
And they get the Giants, who looked absolutely terrible today against the Cardinals. They looked absolutely toothless. So if the Falcons do indeed lose out, you could possibly end up with and if the Falcons do lose out, their strength of schedule tiebreaker is probably going to be better than Carolina's overall. So that, or better in regard to draft. So Carolina, never mind. It'll be worse. So you need Carolina to lose the game. So if the Falcons lose out, I do think that it's possible to have a top 5 pick, to have the number 5 pick.
Yeah. So I mean, we're certainly on track if we were to lose out for a top 5 pick. I don't really think we'll lose out. I think we're going to win at least one more game, but that is something worth discussing, certainly. All right. So. And
I do also just want to say one thing. It's pretty sad that speech is the most excited I've been about the Falcons in December in the past 3 years.
Really into it, man. All right. So we got Michael Zurich. He says, I'm glad my point about Adnan hating Ryan is catching on. But I have to be honest, being a Falcons fan is draining. This fan base is so confusing. We win and people riot that we're blowing the pick, and then we lose and they riot that we aren't winning. Falcons fans hurt me. Well, it's not just Falcons fans that do this. I mean, it's every team that's bad. Because no fan base is going to be 100% in on tanking, ever. And no one's going to be 100% off tanking either. So that's where you're going to get that dichotomy. It exists everywhere, but maybe Falcons fans are more obnoxious than normal. I don't know. But
also, when you're 4-9 as a football team, you really shouldn't have it anyway. You deserve to be criticized every which way and every single way that the fan base can criticize you. That's just my opinion. If you came into this year with a veteran roster the way the Falcons did, expecting to win now, and you play that poorly, then I don't think you deserve to be praised at all. At all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, so Big Daddy Land with the $1. Thank you for your support, brother. Do Choke Bowl 2020 champions get a trophy and or rings? No, I don't think they have a trophy for that one. That's the win that you don't really want to talk about. That really sad win that you hide in your back, that trophy you just kind of hide in the back of your trophy case that no one else gets to look at. So. And then we have Corey Carter with the $3. Brother, thank you for your support. The wide receiver screen with no blockers needs to be removed from Dirk's playbook, along with that deep route on 3rd and 3. I mean, at least the deep route was past the sticks. That, I guess that was some sort of progress for Dirk Koetter to get the ball past the sticks. But I agree. Those screens are pretty sad. I mean, both teams were trying to outscreen themselves. Honestly, it was kind of shocking how many screens were called in this game. But Abixis says, can we praise Koo He's great. So let's get some Koo praise going.
Who's the best kicker in the NFL? Like any bad thing we say about the Falcons does not reflect on Younghoe Koo at all.
Yeah. I mean, Younghoe Koo is a god. He's a young hero, and he deserves all of our praise. So also shout out to Kevin Childers for the subscription and Brandon Figueroa as well for the subscription. Thank you guys for subscribing, and all you other guys in the chat or girls, whoever, you could subscribe too. You can hit that subscribe button. You get a nice shout out, and it helps everyone. And then if you don't mind liking the show too, we appreciate that. It helps other folks on YouTube find the channel, find the show. So we appreciate that. But yeah, I know folks are asking for Dirk slander, Jamal Washington. It's coming. It's just like I don't know. Like I guess I feel like I'm just repeating myself every week with the Dirk slander. Because he just keeps doing the same crap, and it's always the same. Like we're running on 2nd and 10 a lot. We're throwing screens on 2nd and 10 a lot. I pulled it up during the game that like their yards per play on 2nd down is like more than a yard less than 1st down. Like I don't know how the hell that happens. It's unusual. They actually pass more on 2nd down than they do run, and they still have a lower yards per play than they do on 1st down and on 3rd down for that matter. But it's kind of shocking how inept they've been on 2nd down, and I think that's just a product of Dirk's offensive style, which is play for 3rd and short, and the whole thing is just I'm just not gonna try to get a 1st down. I'm just gonna try to throw and get 5 yards here. It's outdated and it's dumb because every 3rd down is a huge risk. We've seen what happens when Gurley drops a pass or Matt Ryan takes a sack or whatever. If you mess up on 3rd down, then it's a punt usually, or if it's the red zone, it's worse than a punt. it's a field goal, and then you've blown up your red zone percentage. And I don't know if you guys saw my tweet from earlier this week, but Falcons were tied 29th in red zone efficiency going into this game, and that will be lower after this game, obviously. So they were getting a touchdown only half the times they made it to the red zone. That is extremely sad. That would be the worst red zone efficiency this team has had since 2007. That they have not been that bad in the red zone since 2007.
What a year that was.
Yes. And that year they were extremely bad. They were they had a 39% red zone efficiency or something crazy bad. But
we may end up winning as many games as 2007.
Yeah. And shout out to Benji okay, hold on. Osmusi. Omozusi. Benji Omozusi. Thank you, brother, for subscribing. We appreciate you. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about Dirk. Do you guys have something else to say about Dirk? I'm sure I didn't cover all of the bad plays today. I'm sure there's more. There's a lot.
I feel like I've talked a lot, so I'll let Evan get the first crack at this.
Right, yeah, Evan, you got some slander lined up, some shade perhaps.
I mean, it's hard to add anything that we've all, even the people in the chat watching this have already said or thought. I think it's sad to see the run games basically a non-factor. Some weeks it seems like that 1 week where Gurley had over 100 yards, but then it's 1 week he'll get 19 yards. It seems like there's no commitment to running the ball to establish the pass, which I believe they go hand in hand, but that's, I guess, my own philosophy towards that. But I don't know, I'm just kind of tired of this wasting talent thing. I think if you had, you don't need Kyle Shanahan, but a competent offensive coordinator, you could have had maybe 2 or 3 more wins, and maybe more, I don't know. But there's times where the offense is the problem, and it's been more recently, I think, than at the start of the season. I don't think the defense has been, in the past maybe, but since week 5, 6, I think the defense has been kind of outplaying the offense, especially when you consider the talent that's on the offense. But I don't know. There's not much more to add. It's just he sucks and he'll get a job somewhere else. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's pretty sad. Like I agree with you. Like the way that they've kind of mismanaged everything. Like there's just no excuse for them to be so lifeless on offense with this much talent. Like it's just kind of shocking to watch every week.
What's weird is like there's been no when Raheem Morris took over, there was no changes to the offense aside from, I believe, the running back coach became the special teams coordinator when they fired that Ben Koetter or whatever. But it just kind of seems like they're okay with what Dirk Koetter's been doing. And obviously, like getting rid of Koetter and maybe Greg Knapp would have took over or something. The offense all of a sudden wouldn't be like dominant or anything, but it would have been a different mind in their calling plays. And I think most of the fan base would have preferred to see something change instead of continuing this thing where Dirk Koetter's play calling is just kind of doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But I mean, in the long scheme of things, if you're one of these people that's more focused on getting a top draft pick, you probably shouldn't complain too much about Dirk Koetter because he's probably playing a big hand in it. So.
Yeah. I mean, they
not
definitely.
Probably. There's no probably in there.
Yeah, they definitely would have found.
Falcons offense has failed to score 20 points in 3 of the last 4 games. And you're talking about the NFL in 2020, which is like all offensive.
Yeah, that's like historically scoring heavy.
Like that's absolutely inept. We almost won 2 games in a row against the Saints without scoring a touchdown, like 2 full games. And you saw Jalen Hurts dice that defense up for the most part today. Like that defense had no sacks, they had no interceptions. But like it's just archaic. Like the offense looks like something out of the 80s, which you understand back then. You go run, short pass. You set up 3rd and short because you have those dominant run games, and it's hard to pass because DBs can mug wide receivers all they want and get away with it. But I mean. At this point with Dirk Koetter, we've talked about it so much. Like nothing is changing.
Yeah.
He, like Evan said, he's probably gonna get a job somewhere somehow because teams love these retread guys for some reason. Like you saw Mike McCarthy land that gig in Dallas, and they're stuck with him another year because it looks really bad if they fire him this year. Plus, they have the Dak injury to fall back on, even like as an excuse, even though Dak was like they were pretty terrible even with him. Dak was carrying that offense on his shoulders.
Yeah.
But we'll hopefully get a nice top 5 pick for our suffering this year.
Right. That would be a nice change instead of like 16th.
It'll be very nice.
Yeah.
And if we get that sweet trade back, we'll have a couple seconds. We'll have a first round pick the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the sky's the limit because we actually have a GM who's willing to trade, hopefully a GM who will be willing to trade back for once in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, that would be nice if something like that changes. But yeah, I guess we're going to see, like, this is a nice transition into some draft takes and draft talk in general, because like, I do want to keep slandering Dirk, but like, we have to save some material for Wednesday's show too, because I know you guys are going to demand more Dirk slander on Wednesday. So, we can't oversaturate the show with too much Dirk slander in one day. Like, it has to be spread out well, to make sure that we keep you guys entertained. We do have a donation from Corey Carter, $3, brother. Thank you so much for your support. So 13-minute mark of the 4th. I remember this drive. Ito gets 6 on first down, 3 on second down, and then on a 3rd and 1, we call a screen, which Gurley runs incorrectly, and then we punt. Nothing else needs to be said. The next OC needs to understand that if it's working, then do it until it stops. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that was a strange play. It was a strange play design, first of all. Like, they took the receivers off the field. I think it was like a 1-receiver set and like a heavy formation, and then they tried to run some sort of like running back screen, but like Gurley ran the wrong way. And it's like, why are you taking Ito off the field? He got you to 3rd and 1. Like, I just really don't get that aspect of it. It's like they feel like they have to give Gurley these touches because they paid him this money. But that to me doesn't make any sense either, because the guy that gave him that contract isn't here anymore. So like, you don't have to give him anything. Like, He's on a 1-year deal. You don't have to prove anything to us. Like, we can all see that he's bad. Like, you don't have to keep pretending that you don't have to.
Not a good running
that
back,
he's not
man.
a good running back.
He's not a good running back anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the arthritis in his knees has not cost him any games. Like, but you can see that it's cost him his bounce.
Yeah.
You see that it's cost him his first step.
Yeah.
Like, you see it's cost him some of his mobility, and that was never more prevalent than against the Saints last week when he tried to cut it to the outside and he just got chased down by Demario Davis.
Yeah.
With minimal effort.
Oh, yeah.
And, his football IQ seems to be getting worse and worse by, like, the passing game.
Yeah,
so I think it's safe to say that he's the worst running back in the league when it comes to situational awareness.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I agree. I mean, and it's sad because I think it's like when you have this athletic ability and you're a really talented running back, the game seems to slow down because you can move so quickly that like you can react to things as they happen and you have an advantage over people and all these things. When you lose that athletic edge, it really exposes like it honestly makes you seem like you're processing slower. So it's like, I don't know if he's actually like processing things any slower than he used to. I just wondered that he can't react anymore. Like he can't cut and like shift and go back the other way, or he can't make a read and make a cut anymore. Like he just doesn't have that agility.
But the thing is, the worst part about it is he can't come to terms with it.
Yeah.
Because you saw last week, like, he does not know what he's capable of anymore because, 2017 Todd Gurley or UGA Todd Gurley, makes that bounce to the outside and maybe he gets to the corner. But he thinks he can still get to that corner and he can't. And that's much worse than if he, lost that athleticism. It happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us. You get older, you lose speed, you lose athleticism, especially if you're someone who's dealing with the knee problems that he has. But, if you can recognize it and, try and play to your strengths some, then it's not as bad. It's kind of cushioned. But when you can't admit to yourself, when you think to yourself, oh, I can still do this, that, then you get plays like we saw last week.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's really sad. And it's always sad to watch players like go through that. Because, I can only imagine if it was me, what I'd be doing. And it's difficult to come to terms with. I mean, it's kind of like a midlife crisis, but it's happening in your like 20s, Like he's really not old for a running back.
He's not, but it's like you can't say enough about arthritis.
You can't. It's devastating.
Yeah, like it's devastating for like a regular, like it's devastating for like a mailman.
Yeah.
Let alone like someone who plays the running back position at the highest level in football.
Yeah, it's true. All right, we got George Costanza. What's up, George? Show benefactor George Costanza with the $5, brother. Thank you so much for your support. George says, we kept the tank intact. Well done, Falcons. Rise up that draft board. Yeah, I like that. Yes, rise up the board, baby. Also, everyone needs to go subscribe on Patreon. These guys work hard for us, bro. Thank you for shouting us out there. You guys should consider it. If you should consider the Patreon. I think it's nice. I don't know. But Adnan is my favorite sober cat. Dirk still sucks, but he's critical to keeping up the tank. So, yeah. I agree. Dirk has been an invaluable member of the team this year to maintain that tank.
By the way, hot chocolate today. A very wintry hot chocolate.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Shout out to the owner of our show, George Costanza.
The benefactor. Yep.
Benefactor of our show. Thank you.
Under George Costanza Inc. Yes. And shout out to Millennial One also for the subscription. We thank you for that, brother. All right. Adnan is sober. I, however, am not. So I'm going to take a hashtag defeat shot. Because all this Dirk Koetter shade is like depressing my soul. So I give me 1 second here, folks. But yes, I did see the question from I think it was Viral Graph asking about which quarterback we would want at the top. Obviously, if Lawrence and Fields aren't there. So do you have a preference on that, Adnan?
We already talked about. We talked about it. It depends on the next head coach and what his style is. Right now. I really like the dual threat ability from Trey Lance, just because that's where the NFL is going. Yeah, that's where the NFL is at this point. Like, all of these top running backs are guys who, even if they're not, like, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson, who's like, amazing. He's one of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL. Had the first 1,000-yard season as a rusher since Michael Vick. Only 1,000-yard season as a rusher as a quarterback, other than Vick. But you still, it's still invaluable to be able to maneuver around that pocket and to be able to escape the way like a Pat Mahomes or an Aaron Rodgers does. So right now, I'm just gonna say, if I had to answer that, I'd say Trey Lance as of right now.
Yeah, I'm right
But
there with you.
It really all depends on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Or not the quarterback, the new head coach who comes in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I think that it basically depends on the scheme and what they're looking for and like how quickly they want the new guy to play. Because I think with Lance, like, it really would be best if he sat behind Ryan for at least a year. I mean, maybe even 2, because the jump in competition will be big. He just needs more polish, I think, in general. Whereas I think Zach Wilson's maybe a little bit closer to NFL level in terms of ready to play now. He just doesn't have like that physical ceiling that Trey Lance does. So I think if you're willing to give Lance the time he needs to develop, then I would go with Lance. But if you feel like you need someone to play like very quickly, I think Zach Wilson's probably the guy I would prefer. But I don't really see a scenario where the Falcons are, needing to force Trey Lance onto the field in the next year. Like, I think it'll be 2022 at the earliest for whichever quarterback they take. So that's where I'm at.
And the thing is, it may not even be a quarterback. Like, we may not even go after a quarterback if the next coach comes in and he's like, all right, like, I'd rather have Rousseau from Miami or, someone like a defensive player to help this defense out, because this offense should be top 10 in the NFL next year. Like, barring injuries, barring like, something devastating happening, this offense should have been top 10 this year.
Right.
And it should be top 10 with like a legitimate chance of being top 5 next year with a good play caller. That's not Dirk Koetter.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they really could have been very good if not for Dirk Koetter, and it's unfortunate.
This offense is top half in the NFL in yardage and scoring, with what I would say is the second worst offensive play caller in the NFL behind Adam Gates.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's kind of shocking. Like, I mean, I think in the Discord we were talking about it, like, before this game, if you gave the Falcons just average red zone efficiency, which would be about 59% of your red zone trips result in a touchdown, as opposed to the 50% the Falcons were at going into today, the Falcons would have scored between 16 and 32 more points, about 4 more touchdowns overall. And if you take the lower of those two numbers, 16, they would be 11th in scoring instead of 15th. And if you took the higher of those two numbers, they'd be all the way up to, I think, 7th or even 6th in scoring. So, like, that's the difference between them being, like, an elite offense and being kind of a mediocre one. Like, they are top half in the league at scoring, but, like, barely. The problem is, too, like, a lot of their yardage is based on volume. Like, their efficiency metrics, like their yards per play and their yards per attempt and their yards per carry, are all awful. But their raw yardage is fine. Like, their passing yards are good. I mean, their rushing yards are bad, but they're not as bad as their yards per carry. So it's just kind of like Koetter gets a lot of plays because this offense doesn't, go 3 and out very often. But they aren't cashing in with touchdowns, and they're really not very efficient either. So it's just, you can kind of tell that this is an offense that has all the hallmarks of a bad scheme. That's kind of succeeding in spite of that, and it's really not succeeding, if we're being honest. So, I mean, they're 4-9. They're clearly not succeeding. And a lot of those games had a lot to do with the defense, if we're being honest. Like, that 0-5 start had a lot to do with the defense. But
there's plenty of blame to go around. Like, to everyone but Young Wei-Koo and Sterling Hoffrichter this year. Yeah. And, of course, Foy Luakan, Grady Jarrett. You have names which are just your standouts. AJ Terrell, Like those guys have been fantastic. Terrell less so to start the year, but Terrell's a rookie cornerback, which I don't think anyone expected him to even be this good.
Right.
But yeah, it's like this entire season has just been so bad.
Yeah,
Like just like last year.
Bad. Yeah.
Analysis. Just like last year, just like the year before, like we just go into it. I remember being so excited. Like you remember that pregame show before the Seattle game, and we were just so excited. We break down the schedule every year, and we just look forward to it. We have a show after the schedule release where we look forward to just like, looking ahead to what the season may bring, and everyone always predicts above 500, and we'll be in the playoffs this year. There's an extra wild card spot, and
yeah, they'd have to be really bad to miss the playoffs this year. Oh no!
Well, there's no way they'll be that bad this year. We have the offense, we have continuity, and then the Seattle game happens, and you're like, okay, like
okay.
We'll blew it in the second half, but Seattle's a really good team.
Yeah,
like,
we think they're going to be like really
Wilson,
good. Yeah.
Like Russell Wilson is so good, so maybe it's just like they'll learn from their mistakes. They'll go back to what's working, and then you get that Dallas game. And
God, that game! Oh my God!
Oh my God!
I was so freaking mad. I think that show like blew all of our like viewership records, except I think the only show that did better than that in terms of viewer numbers was the post game for the Eagles playoff loss. I think that was the only one that did better numbers. Like, it was. I mean, yeah, I understand why. I mean, that game was just a travesty at the highest level.
Oh my God! But man, and then, let's keep going through it. That Dallas game. Let's be honest. The season was pretty much over after that. Like, it's so hard to recover from that mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you get, that Bears game, and that's the one where I went into it like, all right, this is going to be the one. The Bears have no quarterback. We'll get back on track, and we have an easy stretch coming up before the bye week, and then you blow that Bears game the way you did, and it was just truly like horrendous. But at the same time, it's something you couldn't take your eyes off. Like, this Falcons team is like a slow moving car crash. It's terrible. But you just can't take your eyes off of it because you just don't know. You're just so humanly curious as to this disaster that's unfolding in front of your very eyes, and that's what the season's been. It's been just a complete disaster.
Yeah.
And every year for the past 3 years, it's been the same way. When's the last time we've had a discussion in December? And we're talking about, the playoffs, and we're talking about playoff matchups, and, how excited we are about, maybe this team making a run. It hasn't happened since 2017.
Yeah, it's been a while now.
It's been 3 years. Wait, 4 years, right? 4 years. It was 3 years.
18, 19, 20 now, so yeah, 3.
Yeah, 18, 19, 20. It's been 3 years, man. Like, that's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long time. Like, I wasn't even on the Falcoholic staff the last time this was in the playoffs.
That is very sad. Yeah. 2017 was a weird year too. But yeah, I agree with you. And like, I'm hopeful that 2021 can bring good things. I think we need a fresh start. I think this team needs a fresh start. I don't think that it necessarily has to be without Matt Ryan, but I think it would also be smart to start looking towards the future. And like, as unfair as it is to Ryan, like, he has to play better right now. Like, he can't afford to have games like this now because the new coaching staff is going to be paying attention to these games. And he didn't have to convince Dimitrov or Blank or anyone else that he was worth keeping because we all know what he's done and what he's done to earn his place here. But this new coaching staff doesn't have an attachment to him. So if he starts having these blunder games to close out the season, like, it's going to make the chances of them drafting a quarterback go up a lot because that's going to be the most recent picture of him, fair or not. So,
and if you think that this fan base is hard on Ryan now and putting pressure on Ryan now, imagine if he has a top 5 pick sitting behind him. The first interception of the season, people will be calling for the rookie to go. I remember a few years ago, people were talking about how we need to give Dominique Davis a shot.
Dominique Davis.
We need to give him a chance to be the starting quarterback after he had like a decent preseason game.
That man never did anything in the preseason. I think he had one good preseason game his entire career. So, enough with the Dominique Davis hype. Come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah, that's probably a name that you thought you weren't going to hear.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name recently.
Shout out to Dominique Davis.
Dominique Davis. Yeah. But I do want to read some donations and some subs. So we got Final Flash with the subscription. Thank you, brother. Juan Galvin and Swatan War also with the subscriptions. So thank you both. We appreciate you guys. And then we got George Costanza with another 5. So George Costanza wanted.
George.
Yes, thank you, show benefactor George, our hero. George says, I wanted to push back on this. I believe this was sent when we were talking about Trey Lance, so I think that's what he's referring to. So he wants to push back on the Trey Lance being the top choice. George thinks that Zach Wilson is the second best quarterback in the draft, and he's going to be there for us. If we are drafting in the top 5, hard to pass on that quarterback. Could we possibly use the draft selection on Lincoln Riley? That's what we actually need. I mean, hey, I wouldn't be upset if we could just draft Kyle Shanahan, or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kyle Shanahan, we would have won that 2017 Super Bowl, but I digress.
That's not what that's about.
But it's a completely fair opinion that Wilson is the second best quarterback, and that we should take Wilson. Like legitimately, like Lance, Wilson, that's all the same tier for me.
Yeah, they're very much in the same tier. Yeah.
If we take Wilson with the 5th pick, I'll be happy. If we take Lance with the 5th pick, I'll be happy, and not because I'm a Matt Ryan hater. If we take Rousseau, I'll be happy.
Caleb Farley, Patrick Surtain, I'll be happy.
This is one of those drafts where no matter what we do in the first half, I'll be satisfied with it.
Right, as long as it's not Jamar Chase, right? Jamar Chase to play quarterback.
Yeah, it's not March yet for us to be having this conversation after saturating draft takes for so long. But we could get to it.
I mean, at some point, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Eric would have an aneurysm if we took Jamar Chase, but
yes,
it's not like in years past where you have someone mock a cornerback to us, and every year that was the big thing. Falcons are going to go after a corner. And we're like, no, we're not. That's dumb.
Yeah.
And this year, I don't think there was a dumb player you can mock to the Falcons.
Yeah.
It's so open-ended just because you have no idea what the coaching staff is going to do and what the new GM is going to do.
Yeah.
The only thing is maybe it'll be, a bit more predictable than it has in the past, because I don't think Dan Quinn has ever made a predictable first-round draft pick other than Vic Beasley.
Right. That was, I think, the one that everyone kind of universly called. But since then, it hasn't really
And that was the one that was, universally celebrated for the most part.
Yes. And it looked good at first, that 2016 year was really special. But he just didn't want to play football, so... And he's I don't know what he does, but he convinces everyone that he loves football, and then he just shows up to the team and just doesn't give a shit. It happened to the Titans, it happened to the Raiders now. It's I don't know. Is this man literally the best salesperson ever? Oh yeah, I'm in, coach. I'm here to win. We got this.
Nothing sells like history.
Yeah.
And he's someone who led the league in sacks one year. That was a fluke.
It was totally that was a fluke.
His conversion percentage on pressures was
absurd.
Absurdly.
It was 40%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was to the point where that he cannot keep that up.
Mm-hmm.
He had 15.5 sacks. Von Miller, who had 15, his conversion percentage was 16%.
Yeah. Yeah. Pressure rate is more important than sack rate, folks.
And you have all of these coaches who think that they have the secret sauce. They're going to be the one to unlock that greatness from Vic Beasley, even though nobody else could. I'm convinced that every single coach thinks he's the smartest person in the room.
Oh yeah.
I just think that may be just a trait that you have to be, coaching at this level. And, it's a gift and a curse at the same time, because, there's no other explanation for it. Because that man, Vic Beasley, you could tell that he didn't love football last year. You could tell that he did. And this year, nobody knew where he was during training camp, and he's on Instagram buying a truck.
Right, like, hey, deliver my truck, bro. It's weird, man. His whole saga has been weird, I tell you what. But
he got us a 5th-round pick, so
he
can do whatever he wants.
Shout out to Vic for that one. But yeah, also we got
the least he can do.
Yeah, we got Gary Stafford as well with the $10. Thank you, brother, so much. We appreciate you, man. He says, you guys are hilarious. Keep up the good work, brother. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you so much. But yeah, I mean, I know someone was shouting out someone. Like, we talked about Bleedy. I want to make sure we hit all the players that had great games. So, like, Bleedy, #free Bleedy, okay for that play. Unfortunately, the team, like, screwed it up, but I won't hold that against my son, Bleedy. He did what he had to do, and, it's not his fault that the team blew it.
That was the second massively clutch pick of the year.
Right.
First one being against the Panthers.
Yeah. Brave Dirty Hawk.
Bleedy's trying to ruin the tank.
Right. Yeah. Bleedy can't do anything but win. Okay.
He needs to be stopped.
This man. Someone go get this man. Stop him. We had a Brave Dirty Hawk in the chat called out Matt Gono in a good way, and he said Gono I think gave up only 1 sack. Going up against Joey Bosa. Yeah. I mean that's very impressive. I think Gono was kind of like invisible, which is what you want your tackles to be for the most part when you're watching the game. Yes, I mean he's clearly a quality swing tackle at worst. He's
someone who has a future here.
Yeah, he does. So I'm a big fan. I know people in the chat are like, "Oh, Duke Riley's having good games in Philadelphia." What do you think about that? I'm glad he had the game against the Saints.
Yeah, he's helping. He helped, potentially cost the Saints a 1st-round bye.
Yes.
So, that's great. And, bro, the Saints do not want to go up to Green Bay in January.
No.
Like, fans or no fans, they do not want to play in Green Bay in January.
Oh, no. Yeah,
I guarantee you that.
It's not going to be a great look for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they are the 2 seed, and I know we're diverting off course just for a second, but, that's just what we do sometimes.
Sometimes.
If they are the 2 seed, they're probably going to face, a very hot team that gets that final wild card spot.
Yeah.
Because that wild card is in an absolute dogfight.
Yeah.
You have the Vikings in there who, have a history against the Saints, of course. You have the Cardinals. Like, whoever gets into that playoff game, they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, and the Saints, I think today's game showed that they're very mortal with Taysom Hill playing a quarterback. They can easily be defeated. Taysom Hill just isn't that great. So they need Breeze to come back and be healthy because, they're gonna get pantsed by teams that aren't the Falcons, or that aren't the Broncos that have no quarterback.
The only reason they beat the Broncos was because they had Hinton, they had a practice squad wide receiver playing quarterback.
Yep. That's
and
not
they
ideal.
beat the Falcons because this coaching staff should be nowhere near the state of Georgia next season.
Yeah, they really should. So, but yeah, do you want to also shout out Imran Lakhani for the subscription? We thank you very much for that. But yeah, we're over an hour now, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on wrapping up. Just a quick reminder, folks, to like and subscribe if you haven't already done that. We appreciate both of those things. If you take the time to hit us up with that, we appreciate that. Like George said, the Patreon is there for those that want to support the show on a monthly basis and unlock some exclusive perks. So you can check out the link to that in the show description, along with the community Discord server. It was a lot of fun today during the game, just to talk Falcons. So the link to that is in the show description as well. So, Adnan, any final takes tonight before we wrap it up?
The tank is on?
Yes. Officially now. Yeah.
Officially, the tank is on. It's kind of wild because up to 2 weeks ago, I was talking myself into, thinking about potential playoff scenarios just because I'm the delusional one, in the Falcoholic group when it comes to that kind of stuff. But, all hope is lost. You got 3 very, very difficult games, and I swear to God, if they beat the Chiefs and sweep the Bucks, I will not celebrate that at all.
No, that would be so worthless.
I promise you, I will not celebrate that at all. I will not be here after Week 17 talking about,
look at how this team rallied. Yeah,
look at how this team rallied. Look at how this team.
They finished strong.
They finished strong. We have that continuity going into next season. Will it carry over?
We got to keep Dirk Koetter now, man. He called a good game that game against the Chiefs. Yeah.
We're going to make him the head coach.
Yes. It's Raheem Morris. It was him all along. Yep. Wow.
But yeah, it's hopefully 3 more weeks of worthless football, and then hopefully we don't have to go through worthless football for a long time in Atlanta.
I agree.
So, let's fire up the tank.
Fire up the tank. All systems go. Roaring ahead.
Go. With tank commander Dirk Koetter at the helm.
Yep, with him at the helm, we can't fail, or we can fail. Maybe that's the point, though.
But better tank commander than George Patton in World War I. What can I say?
What can I say? Yeah, I mean, Dirk Koetter, he knows his job and he's doing it well now. So.
Yes, he is.
For the first time in his career. Yeah.
And he's probably going to be hired by Dallas or Cincinnati or something like that next. Maybe the Jets.
Oh man, the Dirk Koetter Mike Nolan reunion. Man, I would love to see that. They're like, you know what the problem is with us? It was like, what's his name? The Cowboys offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. Yeah, Kellen Moore.
Former Boise State legend.
Yeah. He's the problem with this offense. Not that it'll be like a 2018-esque thing. Like, we need to scapegoat somebody for this bad season. Kellen Moore, get out of here. It wasn't the fact that we didn't have Dak Prescott. It was the fact that it was you. We need to bring in an established guy like Dirk Koetter to resurrect our offense. And then,
Hey, I mean, make that joke now, but that's literally exactly what the Falcons did after 2018.
That's why it's funny. Yeah,
that was the game plan after 2018.
Yep. Oof. Yeah, I made myself feel sad with that one, but yeah, guys. Adnan is on Twitter at Say Which Way. Adnan, anything you want to plug while we're here?
Fantasy football article goes out every Monday. What if Falcons win or lose, which is a de facto dropped standings article, goes out every Saturday. So check that out.
Yeah, guys, definitely hit that up. Check out the site as well.
Or don't. I don't tell you what to do.
Yeah, Adnan's very chill. He's just saying like, look, I got this article here. You can read it if you want. It's available. You should read it, but like if you don't want to, that's fine. Just like the show.
Meanwhile, if we had Dave Choate on the show, he'll be like clicks.
Yeah, he'd be doing whatever he could to get those clicks. He'd be doing the, just wait until we announce our Dave's Meet, OnlyFans account. That's on the exclusive, high level Patreon tier that we haven't released yet. So that'll be the hashtag Dave Meet tier.
Hey,
yeah.
Dave is a man of business. He's a man of results.
Yep. He'll do whatever it takes to make sure that the Falcoholic budget is in check at the end of the year. So, guys. All right, we gotta stop before Dave finds out what we're doing.
We're so lucky that Dave doesn't watch the show.
Yeah, we know he's never gonna find out, so it should be fine.
Yeah. You know how I know that he doesn't watch the show? Because after every show, we'll go in after saying stuff like that, and he'll be like, "Great show, guys!
Great job, guys!" Yeah, there was no Dave Choate slander. I really appreciated that. Oh yeah, totally, bro. Yeah, no, guys, I'm Kevin Knight on Twitter at Falcoholic Kevin. I'm going to have some draft stuff this week, probably another mock draft midweek, and then we'll have another show on Wednesday at the usual time of 8-10 p.m. Eastern. So join us then as well for some more Falcons talk and discussion. It'll be, more draft and free agency centric now that we've been officially eliminated from the playoffs. By the way, it is official in case you were still hoping.
Can't believe it took this long.
I'm honestly shocked, yeah. But with that 7th, playoff spot, man, hope springs eternal. So, but yeah, it is officially over. So we're going to start transitioning to more off-season talk. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to all of our new subscribers, everyone who donated, all of our patrons, everything. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next time, which will be Wednesday. And we will go from there. So until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your football Sunday, and we will talk to you next time. All right. Have a great night.